Disclaimer: no toolboxes were left open during production, but expect sudden urges to organize the garage.
Hey, welcome back to Dad Space, podcast for dads by dads. My name is Dave. We're talking about penguins today. That's on your scorecard, right? You're on your vehicle card. You're like, I think we'll talk about penguins. Yeah, we will. What about if we focus on the good things our kids do, not just the bad? You know, sometimes we acknowledge the wrong things. As dads, it's time to reorganize and restructure our scorecard with our kids. So I have a story about penguins to help us to do this. And yeah, glad you're here. Thanks for pressing play. So I was at work last night. I was listening to Jay Shetty as a podcast, and he had Dr. Daniel Iman on, and Dr. Daniel was on to talk about ADD, ADHD, and autism, and all this great, amazing information. It's a great episode. I have a link for you in the show notes. Go listen. Super awesome. And the guest on the show shared a story about connecting with his son and an experience he had with his son that now has sparked him to, as a father, to collect penguins. And he's got thousands of these penguins all over the place because of this event that happened between him and his son. They go to a water park, like a aquarium place, to go see all the animals and all the fish and all that great stuff, right? And there's penguins there. And there's a penguin show. And his son really wanted to see this penguin show. And the father watched the show and then went up to the trainer after to ask some questions. And so here's a little clip from the episode. And again, go listen to the whole thing, especially if you have anyone in your home that has ADD or ADHD. And there's a lot of great information in here. This gentleman's an expert. He knows what he's talking about. And it's not about just medicating people who have this. It's about the right course of action for them. He's a very smart man. So I would love for you to go check it out. But here's the little clip from just that story, and you'll hear Jay's response to the story as well. But I want to start with this, and we're going to kind of unpack this and talk about this scorecard that you and I have as dads. And our kids are listed there, and usually we tend to write down the bad things and keep track of those more than the good. And there's a great lesson here for all of us. So here's the story. Here's Dr. Daniel and Jay on the podcast talking about this example. And I think you're going to love it. So again, go listen to the whole episode. It's amazing. Here's Dr. Daniel.
I know if I become condescending, if I become critical, if I notice what's wrong, I'm not going to get back what I want. And I collect penguins. Did I ever tell you why I collect penguins?
No.
It's crazy, actually.
It's good to know.
I have like 1,000 of them. And I live my life with why I collect penguins. So I adopted 3 of my kids. My oldest was hard for me, argumentative, oppositional. So he has the over-focused ADD, like classic. And I was in training at the time to be a child psychiatrist. And I went to my mentor and I'm like, I am not having any fun as a dad. So he was the first child I had. And she goes, you need to spend more time with him. And so I took him to a place called Sea Life Park, which is in Hawaii. It's like SeaWorld or Marine World, Northern California. And we had a great day. I took him to the whale show, and that was fun, and the dolphins and the sea lions. And at the end of the day, he grabs my shirt and he goes, I want to see Fat Freddy. And I'm like, who's Fat Freddy? He's like, it's a penguin, Dad. Don't you know anything? And that was our, interactions. And so at the end of the day, I went to the last show, the Fat Freddy show. He's a tiny, humble penguin, chubby Fat Freddy. And he comes out onto the stage, climbs the ladder to a high dive, goes to the end of the board, bounces and jumps in the water. And I'm like, whoa. And he gets out, bowls with his nose, counts with his flipper, jumps through a hoop of fire. And I'm just mesmerized by this little bird. And then at the end of the show, the trainer asked Freddie to go get something. And he went and got it and brought it right back. And in my mind, I went, damn, I asked this kid to get something for me. He wants to have a discussion for like 20 minutes and then he doesn't want to do it. I knew my son was smarter than the penguin. So I went up to the trainer and I said, how'd you get Freddie to do all these really cool things? And she said, unlike parents. She looked at my son and then looked at me. She said, unlike parents, whenever Freddie does anything like what I want him to do, I notice him. I give him a hug and I give him a fish. And even though my son didn't like raw fish, would have totally worked with my daughter, Chloe. She loved sushi from the time she was 6 months old. I realized that whenever he did what I wanted him to do, I didn't pay any attention to him at all because I was busy. But when he didn't do what I wanted him to do, I gave him a ton of attention because I didn't want to raise bad kids. So I was inadvertently teaching him to be bad in order to get my attention. Wow. So I collect penguins as a way to remind myself, notice what you like more than what you don't. Notice what you like more than what you don't. And so if you're only noticing what you don't like, well, if you're with a partner who has ADD, that's the story of their life, that people have noticed what they haven't liked. If you love someone, and I love my kids that have ADD, and I love my wife, notice what you like. It feeds
so
them.
Good. Yeah. That's so good. What a great story and what a great lesson. I mean, that resonates so strongly and it's so different to positive thinking because I think people think, well, that means I'm just letting them get away with all the bad stuff. And it's like, no, it's just you're also making really clear that I notice, I validate, I acknowledge all this amazing behavior. Because the truth is, what we're more often than not doing is we're keeping a scorecard, but it's of all their mistakes and all of our wins. So whenever we do the dishes, we get a point. When that person doesn't do the dishes, they lose a point. As opposed to if we are going to keep score, we've got to really take account of all the amazing things that person does.
And that's what I love about this episode and I love about this conversation is that realization that as a father, he has been giving all of his attention to his son's negative behaviors and very little attention to what his son did or when his son behaved well. And I think that's such a common thing for us as dads. When our kids are behaving and things are great, we just don't comment. We don't make a big deal of it. We don't praise our kids enough when they're doing everything right. I just took a break from my computer just now. I went upstairs to get a drink. And my wife is baking, which is awesome. Love it when she's baking. Oh, yeah. And my granddaughter, Delilah, is playing in the living room, at the table there in the living room. And she's just being great. Like, she's just having fun. And she's just so content. And because I'm recording this in real time, I was with her. And I'm like, I just went and sat beside her. And I just told her how great she is and how she's playing so well. And I just praised her because of this episode. Like, I just did it 3 minutes ago. So I just think this is something all of us as dads could really do, is to not just focus on the negative all the time and keep track on a scorecard of all the things that they've ever done wrong. I love that he has been training his son that the best way to get dad's attention was to do things right. Yeah, because I think we've been teaching our kids the best way to get our attention is to do something wrong. That's when they get our full attention. It's sad that they only get a small piece of us when they're doing everything right. So that's my challenge for you as a dad for this episode, is to let's reorder that thought that our kids only get our attention when they screw up, when they do something wrong, when they yell, they scream, they break something. That's when they get our attention. And the rest of the time, nothing. What I love about this story too is the fact that this dad has a collection of penguins to remind him to be intentional in life with his kids. Like they're everywhere. He's tripping over them, right? And it's just this beautiful visual reminder that you need to make this a priority. And I'm going to put these things everywhere so that everywhere I look, I'm reminded that this is my intent. I'm not going to lose sight of this. I'm not going to forget. It's such a great thing that he has these penguins that he's collected. It's a great reminder. Just to remember to notice what's good, to celebrate progress and cooperation and kindness and effort, not just correct when things go wrong. I just think we need to rethink this whole scorecard thing. Most of us keep an invisible scorecard in our heads every time our kids disobey us, whine, or forget something, break something. A point gets subtracted from that scorecard, right? And when they do something good, it often goes unnoticed because, frankly, we expect good behavior all the time. But what if we flipped that ratio? What if the kids felt seen for doing right, not just corrected for doing wrong? And that's the mindset shift that I want to encourage us to do, is to collect penguins or whatever it is for you and shift from fault finding with our kids to strength finding, and encourage our kids to focus in on that. So 4 action items for you as a dad I want you to start and put in place this week to help you to collect your penguins, or whatever you're going to collect, but to collect your penguins, right? To be intentional. The first one is catch them doing something right. So like I just told you, minutes ago, I was upstairs, grab a drink, and my granddaughter Delilah's playing well. She's doing really good. Normally she'd be sleeping at this time of day, but she's just tinkering around and content and happy, and everything's perfect. So catch them doing something right and be aware of that. Make it your mission to notice and verbalize, that's the key point, when your child is doing things that are kind or helpful or responsible. It doesn't have to be a big event. Hey, I saw how you helped your sister with that. Great job. Small acknowledgments, they stack up fast. So catch them doing something right. And then flip the attention ratio as well. For every correction you have to make, aim to give at least 3 positive comments as well. This doesn't mean ignoring the issues. We're not going to be giving like a blind eye to bad behavior. That's not what we're talking about. But when we do have to correct, come back with some positive comments as well. It keeps your kids from only associating your attention with your disapproval. You're building up connection, opportunity credits as well. So flip the ratio. If you're going to give correction, have 3 points of positive comments to build them up at the same time. And create a penguin reminder for yourself. So just like the dad you heard from, as he collects penguins, find your own symbol. Maybe it's a small toy, a picture, a bracelet, a photo, something to remind you to notice the good more than the bad. Place it where you're going to see it every day. Put it somewhere where you're going to stumble over it. And be intentional. And remind yourself of the commitment you're making to accent the positive, not the negative with your kids. Do this. You need to remind yourself. And then, again, like we talked about, rethink your scorecard. Instead of mentally tallying up your child's long list of mistakes, right? Keep a running list, even if it's just in your phone, of the good things that they do. The small wins, the kind acts, the improvements, the growth, the kind human moments that your kids demonstrate. And occasionally share with them. I've been noticing all of the ways you're growing. Here's what I'm seeing. That kind of feedback builds self-worth. I think by collecting penguins, you become the kind of dad who looks for what's right instead of waiting for what's going to go wrong in the future. Your kids learned that being good, kind, and cooperative actually gets your attention. And that's the kind of reinforcement that lasts a lifetime. This whole wait till your father gets home, because of something wrong that you've done, that's not a good feeling. I think it should be exciting when Dad comes home, because Dad notices when I do things right, and he builds me up. Even if I make a mistake, I don't fear my father, because I know he's going to have my back. He's going to find the good in things, even when I make a mistake. That's a healthier version of being a father. If your kids are young, you've got the advantage of a longer runway. So had I had this podcast back when my kids were little tiny kids, this would have been super helpful. So I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts. And what are you collecting? Again, the dad we heard on the episode collects penguins. What do you collect? What reminds you to look for the good in your kids every day? Love to hear from you at dadspace.ca. Thanks for being here. Take care. Hey, dads, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being part of the podcast. Thank you for following the show. I'd encourage you to do just so if you haven't done so already. Look at your phone. There's like a little follow button or subscribe, or I don't know what it says on your screen, but there's like a little button at the top of the screen. If you click that button, that means every time a new episode of Dad Space shows up, it goes right to your phone. It's waiting for you whenever you're ready. So you don't have to try to remember, what's the name of that show? Space Dad? No, Dad Space. It'll show up right there for you if you follow the show. That'd be great. If you listen on Spotify, like I do, I'm a Spotify user. You can actually leave a comment in every episode, and I will respond as your faithful host to any comments you leave in the episodes. So please jump in. Love to read your comments, your thoughts about the episode. That'd be fun. And if ever you just want to just hang out with another dad, you got a few moments on your time in your day, in your week, and you're like, I'd just like to grab a virtual coffee with Dave. You can always buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com, but you could also just join me for a virtual coffee and we could just chat about dad stuff. I'm always looking forward to meet the people who listen to this show. That brings me a lot of joy. So dadspace.ca, all the information in the show notes. And thank you for being here. And thank you for sharing this podcast with one other dad. I really appreciate you. Have a great day, and we'll talk to you on the next episode. Take care.